together so they can try things. Yell about it, it's podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
Hello and welcome to Now Try This, the podcast where two best friends get together every week to try something new. I'm Marcus, and that's Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
Marcus, have no frets, friend. Be bold, baby. Calm down, comrade, because this episode we're doing Don't Worry, Darling. Do you like that?
You were close.
I was close.
You're
I almost
close.
did it with no prep, with absolutely thinking of that bit right before we went live. I am proud of it. Guys, welcome to Now Try That. What?
No prep. I mean, you do improv like professionally at this point, right? So like, no prep.
Why are you calling
I
me
feel
out?
like I don't know.
That's the thing.
No prep's your wheelhouse. No prep's your wheelhouse, man.
Marcus, let you in on a secret about improv.
Okay.
Let me in on a secret. Let me get closer. Here's the thing about improv. Am I a professional improviser? Yes. You know what that means? That just means I made a career of not preparing. That doesn't mean I'm smarter. That doesn't mean I'm more talented. That doesn't mean I'm quippier or punnier. All it means is I get away with bullshit on the daily. That's all that
Good.
means. Guys, welcome to Now Try This. I'm Nick, that's Marcus, and we challenge each other. We challenge each other our favorite things, our favorite movies, our favorite TV, our favorite things. But this is October, and October is a special time because October is frightful, fiend-filled feast month, which means it's only scary things, it's only spooky things, it's only things that are frightening and fearful.
That was your best one. Like I'm
Thanks.
not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna play games with you and toy with your emotions. That was your best one.
Marcus, more prepared men would have had these bits set up before, but again, I'm a professional improviser. Guys, we are so excited you're here. If this is your first time here, welcome. Now try this. We challenge each other, but in October, we do scary things. Last week, we did Army of Darkness. Before that, we did Barbarian. We're really excited to see what Marcus is going to pick for next week. But the way that you can involve yourselves in our podcast is at patreon.com/nowtrythiscast, where every month you guys get to decide one of the challenges we do. That's right. For $5 a month, you get to put submissions, and only for $1, everyone will vote on that submission, just like Army of Darkness won last week. And I gotta say, I'm really glad we did it on the podcast because
Me
I'd never
too.
seen it, and I wouldn't have liked it in a vacuum. I didn't like it while I watched it. And then after doing the podcast with you, I have high reverence for this film now.
Yeah.
And that is the beauty of this podcast. Having someone love something so much that they make you participate in their
Hell
fandom,
yeah.
in their takes. Which is why today's episode is so weird, because I had not seen Don't Worry, Darling until we did it. And it's not a cop-out. I don't like doing that. I only do that when really, really stressed. I would have picked something else, but Marcus is a spooky boy. Marcus has seen every horror movie thing ever. I bitched about like 10 horror movies, and Marcus was like, seen it. I'm exaggerating, but it did happen for 5. And I was like, I'm done. We're going to go Don't Worry, Darling, because neither of us have seen it. And that's why we're here today.
Hell yeah.
But Marcus, how are you doing? How do you feel about Spooky Boys Month? And what was your favorite moment of the last episode?
Okay. That's a lot of questions, Nick. And I feel like a not professional.
I'm sorry, you're not a professional improviser. Let me only give you one.
improviser.
How are you?
You know what I'm doing? I'm stressed and I'm busy, but I'm happy to be here because it is Spooky Boys Month, and that is the month that I'm really my best self. You know, I feel like I don my Michael Myers mask, my mechanic jumpsuit, and I walk into the wild, you know, and I walk to work and they ask me, why do you have that on? You're not a mechanic. You're not Michael Myers. And I say, I'm here to do business. I do accounting.
You mean what you say is,
Yeah. Is it weird? Yeah. Did they report me to HR? Of course they did.
And will you have a job tomorrow? Probably not.
So subscribe to that Patreon. Subscribe on Twitch. You know, do all the things.
All right, Marcus. How did you feel about last week's episode, Army of Darkness? Should people check it out?
I think people should check it out. I think it is really interesting. I watched a whole ass documentary for it. I dropped some knowledge, and I had a good time.
Good. And Marcus, this is the time where you're going to reveal what next week is going to be. What fearsome, frightening film or TV series or a book or movie or anything else are you going to challenge me and the fans to watch for next week?
Nick, it's hard. This month is hard because I have a million things that I want to give you all the time that feel most appropriate during this month. So I'm going to give you a choice.
Okay.
We can do something that is critically acclaimed.
Gross.
Or we can do something that is funny.
Gag. Those both sound like horrible options. What's the critically acclaimed one?
I'm not going to tell you until you got to pick. Blind pick.
No, give me one of them and not the other one.
One is Wolf Cop.
Great. I picked critically acclaimed. You should have told me what the critically acclaimed one was.
No.
Because the bit was you tell me the critically acclaimed, and then I would have picked the bad one, and that would have been awful. But no, I do not want to do Wolf Cop. Please,
you know what?
Acclaimed.
I figured, Nick, your challenge for next week is going to be critically acclaimed horror movie, The Lighthouse.
Oh, that fucking Twilight shit.
You can kind of see it in the background next to Canada Bear. I have a VHS copy of The Lighthouse.
Like it's a playable VHS copy of it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you're going to watch it again?
That's how I'm going to watch it. We'll see how it is.
That's wild.
I've got a tiny CRT in my basement that I watch my VHSs on. And
all I know, it's a film with Defoe and Pattinson.
Yep.
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
It's black and white too, right?
It is black and white.
I didn't think that was a spooky movie.
It's a psychological horror.
I mean, I give you "Don't Worry, Darling." So, how much room can I talk? All right,
okay, that's fair. It is a psychological horror in the vein of like Cthulhu kind of things. You know,
cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm into it. And to answer Daron in the chat's question, how do I know Wolf Cop isn't critically acclaimed? Daron, I'm not going to answer that question. You know, I know. We all know why. And if you guys want to join the chat, go ahead and twitch.tv/nowtrythiscast every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But Marcus, I want to get into it because I watched this movie today. This is fresh. It is
certified
fresh in my mind.
Fresh in your brain.
This is our podcast episode, which honestly I kind of love. This is gonna feel like the conversation as soon as we get home from the movies that we're gonna have about this film, which I love those conversations. It's one reason why I really love watching movies with people, and why some people don't like watching movies with me, because I do not want to stop talking about the film afterwards. Sometimes Lexi tells me, like, can we stop talking about the movie? I'm like, no, we just saw it. 2 more hours of discussion on this hour-and-a-half film.
Yeah. Oh, actually, Old Man Rom's dropping some knowledge. Wolf Cop is 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. I just checked. It is certified fresh. Critically acclaimed movie, Wolf Cop.
You know what? Eggs on my face, because Don't Worry, Darling is at 38%.
Wolf Cop 2. I was going to make you watch both Wolf Cop and Wolf Cop 2, by the way. And they are so good. They're just masterpieces of cinema. And
you want to switch?
No, it's fine. Because here's what I think. Wolf Cop 1 and 2 are fantastic movies. You'll have a lot of fun, and I think you will like them. I think you'll hate Lighthouse, and that's fun.
That's critically acclaimed. It got like a lot of Oscar buzz.
I think you'll hate Lighthouse, and that'll be fun.
All right. Oh, it's kind of a win-win there then.
Mm-hmm. It was a win-win.
Perfect. Well, now that the housekeeping is out of the way, Marcus, what did you know? How did you feel about where are you at with Don't Worry, Darling?
Here's where
did you
I'm
hate
at.
me for giving you a workaround for my horror? I could have given you Smile. I
left the theater for Don't Worry, Darling, and saw a giant Smile poster and was like, now what was Nick thinking when he chose Don't Worry, Darling?
Here's what I was thinking. Let me tell you, because I started listening to a review for Smile, and the review started off by, so I didn't give you Smile because I thought it looked like the same blockbuster horror film that these studios come out with like every year, all the time. Truth or Dare or Ouija or like one of these shits. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking watch a movie like that. And I started watching a review on YouTube, and he literally started as like, you know, I thought this would be one of those high budget blockbusters, and it's really not. It really surprised me. And I was like, fuck. I fucked up. So that's why I didn't give you Smile, because I'm a loser. That didn't look bad. If it's fun, then my bad.
I mean, hey, I'll watch it at some point and I'll report back.
I do want to watch The Menu, but don't worry, darling. Where you at?
Good, but that's like November. Don't worry, darling. I heard about some of the drama. I wasn't heavily involved in any of the drama, but I heard about it, and I also kind of had no interest in seeing the movie.
You're welcome.
And that was it. And I wasn't planning on watching it until it got to streaming. And I went to the movies and had to pay money to go see this film.
That's right. You did. You're welcome. You're welcome. And the drama you're referring to could be a couple different things. One of which, let's get this out of the way. One of which is originally attached for the male lead of this film was Shia LaBeouf.
Okay.
And then his allegations, which some of which he admitted were true, sexual assault and things, blew up on the scene. So he obviously had to vacate this movie, which was drama enough.
Yeah.
But then Olivia Wilde, the director, when she was asked about it, said, "Oh yeah, we dropped his ass because he's an abuser." And she set on this narrative for a while.
Yeah.
And then Shia LaBeouf was like, "Look," and he's on a tour right now, like trying to own up to what he did.
Yeah.
You know, in a like a really interesting way. Like, I'm not forgiving him. It's not my place. I'm not a part of the conversation.
It's just like anthropologically interesting.
It is, because he's talking about his alcoholism. He's talking about the abuse he's done, that was done to him. Super interesting. I would love to know more about it, because not to redeem him, but just to know more about the psyche and what's going on there. But regardless, this was the only thing he really did. He clapped back at this, and he was like, "Look, I was going through shit, and I wasn't in the prettiest of pictures, so I left the film. And here's the proof."
Yeah.
And he shared the video message that Olivia Wilde was pleading with him to come back, and that Florence Pugh was being a baby and she would figure it out.
She said Florence Pugh being baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
I think the word I use, baby, is like less bad than what she actually said. I forget what she said. Yeah. But she said she needs to calm down. It was something very anti-feminine. It was a very wrong thing to say. It was the wrong side of history. But Marcus, that wasn't even the biggest thing.
I like that I'm getting all of this info dump. It's great. It's very good.
Because the bigger thing, she called her Miss Flo. That's right. That was an insane day on Twitter. But even bigger, everyone knew that Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde were married and they had kids. And they were going through a pretty messy divorce. And at some point, Olivia Wilde clapped on Twitter saying, like, "He served me my divorce papers at my job." And people were like, "Oh." But then everyone was like, "Wait, weren't you having an affair on your job?" And she was. And it is reported, and it is a fact, that her and Harry Styles started hooking up and being a thing on set of this movie before the divorce, before it was public. It was a straight-on affair. And that means she's having an affair with her employee. They weren't married anymore?
Yeah, you can separate before you get the official divorce.
Divorce?
Yeah.
Well, no, you're still married if you're separated.
Sure, but you're separated. You're separated when you're separated.
Then it wouldn't have been an affair. Everyone says it's an affair. Oh, Jason Sudeikis and her were never married. Oh, that's right. It was custody papers. It was custody papers.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Darren,
thank you. Wow, Darren.
Correct.
Coming through with the facts.
Yeah. So, but regardless, maybe it wasn't, but the fact that Harry is her employee, the fact that she was doing this on set, apparently made everyone, including Florence Pugh, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Vocally.
Yeah.
So to the point where, fast forward to the premiere, Florence Pugh ain't nowhere to be seen. She ain't got nothing to say about Olivia Wilde. She ain't got nothing to say about the movie. She went to one premiere because she had to, and she has been gone all the rest of it.
Which is interesting, because I feel like a lot of times she's like known for promoting her film. She's known for being like, I will
She's a
post
darling
every day about the thing that I'm in because I'm very happy to be in things.
Yeah, people love Florence Pugh, like, as a person. She knows the power.
She's great. You know? She's fantastic.
She's the Jennifer Lawrence of 10 years ago. People just like her, so the people are flocking to the thing.
Nick, not to skip over the rest of the drama because I know there's more, but
Please.
Florence Pugh carried this movie on her fucking back.
Oh my God.
She
There is
carried
no
the
movie
entire
without
fucking
her.
movie.
We can talk about Florence Pugh because Florence Pugh, she is it right now.
Yeah.
Like she is it.
You could
Like,
tell.
I'm sure she's gonna stumble and maybe it'll be
Yeah.
oversaturation at some
Sure.
point, but like right now, she might be my
I
number
feel
one.
like I have so many problems with this movie, Nick. And I don't know
Oh,
what you
yeah.
thought about the movie because, you know, it was your challenge, but you hadn't watched it yet. So you might hate
Sure.
it, you might love it. I don't know. But I will say this. Anytime Florence Pugh was on screen doing her thing, I felt like
Ugh.
she was giving it her all. And a lot of times you feel like, okay, I can tell the director really got this out of the actor. I feel like Florence Pugh got it out of herself. Like the whole film, she
Yeah.
was just digging into whatever she's been through in her life and pulling
I
it
felt
out
that same way.
for us.
And we're going to talk more about Florence Pugh, but I'm not even done with the drama because Daron just said in the chat, Florence Pugh is friends with Jason Sudeikis because she was dating Zach Braff, who directed a bunch of Ted Lasso episodes. I didn't know that. But also the drama of this whole thing gets even weirder because now it starts to get weird because Harry Styles is in them, who is a pop star, very famous. So there's a lot of things always following him, but he was saying weird things during interviews, but there was this one moment which I've replayed it back myself 20 times because I can't unsee what people say happened in the clip.
Okay.
Where they're at the premiere, everyone's clapping one by one for everyone to come. Chris Pine is clapping for Harry Styles. Harry Styles comes and makes a spitting motion. Chris Pine stops clapping, looks down, shakes his head and puts his hand down. And I can't not see that Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine. How do you think Harry Styles spat on our friend Chris Pine?
I don't think he did. I don't know what that was. Like, I don't know what he could have been looking at. Maybe something fell.
That's what he said. He said something fell.
But I don't know.
It looked like a spit.
It could have also
It felt
could have
like a
been
spit. It. Oh man, the balls. If that was true in a public setting,
I don't know.
All those people.
Internet conceded that it was not spit. He was looking at his sunglasses on his lap. I don't give this
What?
face to my sunglasses.
I don't stop mid applause as everyone else is applauding right when someone's about to sit down next to me to make sure I know where my sunglasses are either. Just everything about it just lines up, and it could be one of those crazy like fucking hive mind cerebral moments, but I don't know. I think he might have spat on him.
I don't know what happened, but that was a wild clip because it does look like it. I don't know what else it could possibly be, but yeah, he was looking at his sunglasses. Who knows?
So all that mixed with Olivia Wilde making weird comments about feminism and Jordan Peterson and Trump and the female orgasm, and there's just the whole press tour for this film was wild and weird.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know Olivia Wilde that well. I mean, she directed
At all.
at all. I mean, she directed a movie that did really well, and a lot of people liked it.
I liked it.
I don't think she's the worst director in the world based on this film either. But
there's definitely some like, oh wow, this is like well made.
Yeah, for sure. But she shouldn't be in the public. I feel like she's not good at public
She's
speaking.
messy. She's messy.
A little bit. Yeah, I feel like, just in the way that you can tell, like, the actors who go out there and they promote the thing and they're used to speaking on like 10 million interviews and they know I have 5 things I'm going to say and repeat those 5 things all day long or whatever. You know, like, there's people who are used to it, and I feel like, I don't know if she's just not used to it or if she's just awkward or what it is, but like, I don't think she should be out there promoting things.
I don't know. I mean, her last movie was a indie darling and got tons of awards, so it's not like she didn't have practice. She's also a seasoned actress, been in tons of things.
Yeah,
critically acclaimed herself.
Other people promote your movies for you. You know, like, I don't know how much promoting she had to do in that first film for it.
No, she promoted that first. It was a big deal that it was a first time director, and you know, her being a woman and it being a great movie, and a lot of people held it up like, see, women can direct. It was like a big deal at the time.
Yeah, but okay, but if everyone's holding it up, how much work are you having to do? I feel like she had to do a lot of work in this film to combat all of the drama
negative.
that was in the negative press that was coming out, and I feel like maybe she wasn't the most well-equipped person to do that, which is not her fault. It's not something she should even be well equipped to do. But I feel like
Also, as
it
I'm
hurt the
reading-
movie even more.
As I'm reading down the list, it looks like the black actresses are complaining they got edited out. of
Oh
the film
yeah,
from the show,
yeah.
too.
The
I didn't hear about
actress
that.
who played the woman who kills herself.
Kiki Lane.
Yes, she was cut. A lot of her scenes were cut out of the film, but she met her husband on the set, and they're happy.
Was it her husband in the movie?
I think so. Was Daron? She was the one who told me this. Daron, who was her husband? But her husband, someone on set in the film, I don't know. But she met her husband and she got paid. So
Oh yeah, no, it was her husband in the movie. Ariel Stachel.
okay, got it. Yeah. So that worked out for her. But there's that, and then also like Daron had we finished watching the movie, and Daron had reminded me that she was like that. Apparently, she was like, this is about the female orgasm, and there's more pussy eating in this film than in any other film or whatever. And it's like,
Which I love. Give me some pussy eating.
sure,
There should be more films. It should be normalized.
Oh, yeah, for sure, definitely
100%.
normalize it.
Yes.
But that's not what the movie's about.
Here's my I actually do have a problem with the pussy eating in this film. And it's not
Interesting.
because of the pussy. Listen. Okay.
Interesting.
So hear me out. Hear me out. We're gonna talk all about the movie.
Okay.
But at its core, this movie is a commentary on
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
incels.
I
Right?
like what you're saying. Yeah.
The incels, right?
It's
Like
movies about
those
incels.
Jordan Peterson type, red pill type, neckbeardy fucking people, right?
Mhm.
That like if you boil it down, that is a big theme of the movie. Whether intentional or not intentional, it's there. You're telling me that all these fucking neckbeards and fucking red pill fuckers are fucking eating this much pussy?
Yeah,
They're not.
there were
That's one of the
certain
most
things-
unbelievable things about
You're right. You're right.
That's one of the most unbelievable things about the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, you're right.
The whole shtick of the film is to make the perfect woman. Quotes.
Okay, but hear me out. Hear
so
me
the-
out.
So yeah, I'm listening.
Now, maybe he doesn't eat pussy or know how to do it, but this is all simulation, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he just hits like the Konami code,
No.
up, down, left, right, BA, select, start. That's the pussy eating code right there. He solved it.
You're so funny. But that's the thing, right? That's the thing. If these were incels and red pills making the simulation, they would make that an unnecessary part of it.
Hold on.
Because you know who was it? Who said they never eat pussy? Was it Kanye?
Maybe might have been Kanye.
There was some celebrity that was like,
Mhm.
"Psh," or no, was it Steve Harvey?
Someone. I remember.
Somebody
what
at some point, and it made a big thing. And I'm
DJ
like,
Khaled?
those are the people. DJ Khaled
was
said
DJ
it.
Khaled.
Yes. Yes.
Old Man Ram says it was Batman. Batman.
Old man, I hate to break it to you, but Batman eat that pussy. Batman eat that pussy. Straight up.
Also Batman.
Marcus-
There was that whole like pussy eating scandal with Batman. I remember.
There was.
What was he gonna say?
Marcus-
Oh, second thing about the incels.
Sure.
The gamification of eating pussy, I feel like would really motivate a lot of incels to do it. Like if you got points, like you don't know, we didn't see the whole game unfold, right? Like maybe he sees a high score in the corner that's giving him pussy points. They would min-max the shit out of eating pussy if it was a game.
Watch it. You're going down a line. Watch it. I know what's in both our minds. Marcus,
Mm-hmm.
what is Don't Worry, Darling about?
Ah, man. Don't worry, darling.
Oh, that's what it was, Old Man Rum. You're right. There was like a memo or something, right? That
Someone-
Batman can't eat pussy?
Yes.
It was in the Harley Quinn show. That's right. Thank you, Old Man Rum. You're right. You guys are right. That
Mhm.
literally happened. Okay, Marcus. What is Don't Worry, Darling about?
Don't worry,
I can
darling.
say it too if you want.
I want to. Part of me wants to go over like the plot at least because I feel like a
That's
lot
what
of
I mean.
people aren't going to watch the movie at all.
Sorry, I meant plot. Like, please
Okay.
tell me the plot.
Okay, so the plot of
We
Don't
haven't talked
Worry,
about that
Darling.
yet.
There's a big twist later, which we revealed basically, but
Not really. We'll get to it.
we'll
though.
get to it later. But Don't Worry, Darling is sort of set in this 1950s style suburban area where you have like the stereotypical like household wife at home watches the husband go goodbye, and the husbands all have
Stepford
mysterious
Wives, right?
Stepford Wives. The husband all have this mysterious job out there in the wild, and no one knows what it is. And then that's it. That's pretty much just the movie.
Starring Florence Pugh and Harry Styles as the first couple. And greetings, that Jams to do. Welcome to the chat.
What up?
And
Welcome.
the two of them are living their lives. And as things unfold, weird things start happening. It seems as if maybe Florence Pugh's view of reality is shifting or wrong or something to that effect. And then it was revealed that she's maybe having a mental health breakdown, or maybe crazy, or maybe something weird is going on. And that's the film. That's the whole film.
Yeah.
Marcus, gosh, there's so much to talk about. Marcus, how soon after this film started did you know we weren't in 1950s suburbia?
Pretty much in the beginning, like as soon as it started.
Yeah.
I was like, I bet you
Something
the
about it,
twist
right?
is the village. Like I was like, this is just the village again, and I'm being
Marcus,
traumatized, but this time it's not by M. Night Shyamalan, at least.
Marcus, I would have fucking cheered if this fucking twist was the village. That would have made so much goddamn more sense. Because right away, you're right. There's something about it that's eerie, that feels modern.
Yeah.
And throughout most of the film, I was waiting to see, what's that Shakespearean word called when you have like a clock in a time that a clock didn't exist? A time anomaly. It's like an anachronism. It's I don't know. Daron probably knows. Daron's a fucking literary person. Like, Daron, what's the name of that thing where something's like out of time, but it's in the literary thing, and Shakespeare did it a lot, and you fucking put it. Yeah, thank you so much. See, that's why you get the big butts, Daron. Oh, Old Man Rom got it too. I like this game. We'll do this game more. You guys are good. You guys make me feel like I'm not losing.
It's nice to have people in the chat to immediately be like, we can't Google things right now because it would ruin the pacing of the podcast. Thank you guys.
Some podcasts lean into that shit. They're like, hold on here while I type this whole thing out into the chat. So I was with you. I was waiting for something because it just felt the way they were talking or something about it felt plastic and wrong. So man, it would have made so much more sense if it was the village.
I would have liked it more if it was something else at the end of the movie. I get it. And a version of this movie could have been good.
Let's jump. We'll go back and talk about the beginning of the film, but we can't stop anymore. So at the end of the film, it's revealed, which honestly, I liked the first reveal section. So as things are happening, I had a lot of problems with the beginning of the film. I will get to them, but at a point in the movie, the cinematography changes, the filter changes, and we're in modern day, and we meet Harry Styles and Florence Pugh in modern day, and they're a couple, and Harry Styles is fucking lost his job. He's on fucking Reddit threads. He's a fucking
Can I tell you the impact that this movie has had on me? Just seeing the incel version of Harry Styles, it made me feel seen, in a way that I feel like I never was seen before. It made me feel like I could be beautiful also, it was just like, yes, this man who everyone worships and is this gorgeous, godly guy, and even the whole movie is very beautiful, is like, is hideous. It could also be super gross and give people nightmares. Was like, yeah.
And legitimately, I liked it. I liked the reveal. I liked the modern day. I liked ugly Harry Styles. I liked Florence Pugh, and she was a fucking doctor, and she was fucking kick ass.
Yeah.
And I thought it was filmed pretty, and their relationship, I thought, oh, finally we're understanding. We're finally getting something. Daron in the chat says, immediately stop this. You are so beautiful.
Thank you.
Marcus, that's you.
Thank
you are so beautiful.
Thank you.
To Daron. But immediately they throw that good nugget of something they have, and for logistical stupid reasons, the logistics of, we find out that apparently Harry Styles has been on fucking Reddit and shit, listening to Frank, the fucking cult leader played by Chris Pine, and basically he abducts his wife, and hypnotizes her with fucking Clockwork Orange eye things, and you find out the whole thing is a simulation, a la the Matrix.
I don't don't think it was hypnotization. I think it was just VR.
Well, it had to wipe her mind, right? That's why the ladies were like in a circle and it was like that dance kept playing.
Mhm.
Like I think that was hypnotism.
Yeah. Okay.
But regardless, it was a simulation. How do you feel about simulation reveals in your movie, Marcus?
I hate it. I hate it. It's been done before. Especially with VR being a real thing that we have that is nowhere near capable of this kind of thing. It seems very 80s in terms of like storytelling to be like, actually, it was a simulation the whole time. There was a lot of simulation movies in the 80s and it feels played out.
Yeah.
We
just got one with the Serenity movie with Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway.
Mm-hmm.
That also fell apart at the end for the same reason.
Yeah.
Like Snow Crash. I don't know
what
that
the hell
one.
Snow Crash is, but it's bad. And then also not only do you get that, but it's revealed that if you die in the game, you die in real life, which is like
very Matrix.
Fucking Spy Kids 3D did that shit. Like it's just fucking
Spy Kids 3D.
It doesn't. It's so fucking stupid.
I think I'm not even that. I'm mad at the simulation. Like it's just like, how does he feed her? Why isn't anyone looking for her? Like logistically, like it just brings up questions or just like if they just hypnotized her and brought her to the place, like kidnapped her, it would have made so much more sense, right?
God, I hate this movie. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't hate all of it. I think there were parts of this movie that were fine, but I was trying.
That's the problem with it. That makes it worse, right?
With this, but I'm gonna try to describe it. My overall problem with this movie is that in almost every single scene, a part of the film didn't work. Where to make a film, you have cinematography, you have direction, you have acting, you have sound design, you have like all of these parts make a scene. And in every single scene of this film, one of them didn't work. And so there was almost no scenes that felt like a cohesive film, that it felt like, oh, this came from one sort of person's mind, and this is like their vision of events. It felt just disjointed. The music especially bothered me in a lot of scenes that were supposed to be building tension and were not hitting.
The soundtrack was my favorite, yeah.
I really didn't like it. It took me out a lot of scenes.
You know what one scene I did like, and leading up to it was telegraphed, but when she said, please, let's leave. We can go anywhere. Let's go. And he said, fine. And then they were in the car.
I hated that scene.
And he said, I'm sorry. I liked the acting from Harry and Florence there.
Yeah, I like the acting from that, but that's another example of a scene that that had something missing.
What was missing?
Scene, here's what happened. I don't know if you just watched it. Of course you remember. But in that scene, for the audience, Florence Pugh and Harry Styles are sitting in a car. At this point in the film, Florence Pugh has kind of had it. And she wants to get out of here. And Harry Styles is like, fine, let's go. And slowly you see the shift in Harry Styles where you're like, okay, actually, he's not going to help her. Right?
Yeah.
Then what happens next, Nick?
A whole bunch of people in red jumpsuits take her away?
Yes. But what happens next, more specifically, is they show a shot of the front of the car. They show the people getting out of their car, walking around to the door, and then pulling her out of the car. How dramatic would it have been if the next shot was just ripping her out of the car while she's screaming and pulling and like begging? Yeah. That would have been so much more effective.
Also, the design of them were also bad, like the red jumpsuits.
Yeah,
like I think someone saw Squid Game and it's like, I got it.
Yeah, it was like also
they should have been dressed in 50s, right? They should have been people of the town. That's
Daron
way
at one
scarier,
point asked,
right?
like, are they viruses or are they people?
Oh wow, great question.
Which I don't know. They could have just been mods. I don't know why they're there.
So apparently Snow Crash is a 1992 Neil Stephenson cyberpunk classic starring hero protagonist, a samurai sword wielding pizza delivery guy / hacker that created the phrase metaverse for virtual reality and had my hacking.
I want to watch that movie. It sounds cool.
That sounds great. I think it's a book.
No.
It's a book. I don't think it's a movie.
Well, I want to watch that movie and it sounds cool.
So here's my problem with the film. Like what you're saying, I think is a problem. And it wasn't my biggest takeaway. I can deal with a thing or two not hitting. with a strong central performance and a plot that makes like decent sense. And if your film is saying something, I'm okay if something's missed the mark. For me, it almost all comes down to the script because the movie just doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like there's so many, and I complain about it all the fucking time where it's like this movie is trying to be an auteur film that doesn't make any sense and it's trying to be a narrative plot film that makes sense. It's a mystery thriller. But you can't have both.
Yeah. At one point I looked at I was just like, something is missing from this film. A lot of scenes feel like they're missing from the film and apparently they were edited out. Like the full script was leaked online and there was a lot that was taken out of the movie, and apparently the script was still not a great movie. Like it's still not great, but it was like, okay, this made more sense. It would have been more interesting to see.
Well, maybe because the film seems highly fixable. Like
yes,
like maybe it's not going to be your favorite movie in the world, but it seems like very watchable. Like Florence is great. I liked Harry. I thought the supporting cast was good.
Better.
Chris Pine is fucking great casting, and like the design of a lot of the film looked really nice. Like the sets and the costumes and all look really cool. Like Florence Pugh's wardrobe through this film I thought is almost worth talking about just itself. It was really great. Like there's a lot of things that work, but the things for me, it was like, Marcus, I'm gonna ask a slew of questions and you're gonna have no answers to them. Marcus, why were there earthquakes every day? Why were the eggs empty? Why did Margaret's kid disappear if she was just a simulation that could have just came back and she wasn't real? At the end of the film when Chris Pine
she
was
wasn't
stabbed,
a simulation.
was he no, her kid.
Because I imagine it's like a video game where you can't go past a certain point. So they went past a certain point and the kid just disappeared because he wasn't like
fucking make him again. It's a goddamn simulation. Do what the fuck you want. That's what I'm talking about.
That is a problem. There are a lot of things where it's like you're running this virtual world pretty poorly.
Yes. No. And then also at the end of the film when Chris Pine was stabbed by his wife, Gemma Chan, and what she said made no goddamn sense. Was Gemma Chan the real culprit all along? Did she finally get released and she was mad? Yeah, did she just think she could do it better now? There's so many things that were just like made no sense.
So many things about this movie made me angry too. Right?
The red plane, Marcus, explain to me the red plane. What is the red plane? What significance does it have? Why is she hallucinating? Is it the sorry, I'm so sorry. Is she hallucinating because the program is breaking? Because the hypnosis isn't working? You can't have a mystery thriller where we're trying to solve it when you can either have an unreliable narrator like Florence Pugh is in this film, or you can have things not make sense in the world and you're trying to deduce it. But if you have both, if she's hallucinating and things are weird in the world, then at no point in the film do we have a basis of reality to try to figure it out. And at the end of the day, you can't have a thriller. Thrillers don't work unless you can somewhat try to solve it as you go.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Yeah.
Then it's not thrilling.
Yeah. I agree. I feel like
my rant's over.
I have so many things. We're jumping around a lot, and I'm sorry if this is a messy episode, guys, but
this is great.
There's so many things wrong with this film that it's hard for my brain to keep track of everything in sort of a linear fashion. But what you said,
the movie didn't do it.
Just to touch on something else you said, right? Like, imagine if this is a cool thing that I just thought of. What if Florence Pugh was the only one who felt the vibrations? Because she lived near, this is not, other people felt vibrations, but a cooler version, she was the only one who felt vibrations because she lived near a train. Beautiful. And it was the train shaking her bed.
And that could be another thing that gets her out of the thing later.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What else you got, Marcus? Let's see. It's fixable.
It's
There's so many things that are fixable.
It's close to being an okay movie is the problem.
A pretty good movie, I think.
I think it's close. A 6 or 7 out of 10 it could have been. For sure.
Almost an 8 and 8.5.
No, that's too much. Look, I know you're an actor and you're like, acting could take a film far, but there was a lot of other things wrong with the film. The acting was good. You're right. But
please go on.
I feel like this movie felt like, I might be wrong. I don't know Olivia Wilde's life, but it felt like it was made. Okay, I'll start over. You know how we've been watching a lot of horror movies recently? Not because Spooky Boys Month, but because of a society. We've been like, there've been a lot of good horror movies coming out recently. when you watch one of those movies like Barbarian or Nope or Get Out or whatever, you watch them and you say, oh, this is a movie that was made by a fan of this genre. You can tell that they really put a lot of passion into this. And this movie felt like it was made by a person who had never watched a thriller movie before. It just was, it felt like it was missing all of the oomph that comes with psychological horror, that comes with thrillers. It was missing
just
those
needed
punches.
some of the Hitchcockian tropes. Like, I know they're tropes, but they work because they work. Like, none of them were in there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I would have liked to watch a version of this, like, directed, or I don't know. I would like to watch a version of this directed by like a woman who really liked horror movies and could really get the messages out. Like, we've had some good horror movies directed by women, and there's no reason that they can't had some input on this film, been a consultant. I don't know what was missing, but that punch that comes from that we get in a lot of horror movies is missing from this.
She didn't get suspense.
She didn't get suspense.
She just didn't get suspense. Like, just for an example, the wall closing in on Florence Pugh. Beautiful visual, great idea, but that was just a moment in the movie. That was good for the trailer. There wasn't any suspense before and after. There wasn't any payoff from it. There wasn't any real sense of dread. I looked at that scene and I thought, wow, this looks really cool. And Florence Pugh is playing the shit out of it, but I don't know what it means and I don't know why I should care. And I do care about Florence Pugh because she's so good. Like, I'm caring about her through the film. But there's no suspense. That valve you always talk about going up and on, that wasn't happening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Dakota Johnson was in this movie? That's not right.
No.
That's weird.
I don't think so.
I just looked at Don't Worry Darling cast and Dakota Johnson popped up and I was like, that's not right.
Was she supposed to be in it?
I don't know. But I feel like another thing too with the suspense, right? A lot of modern horror movies take comedy and mix it into the bunch to help build and release tension. Right?
Yeah. There aren't any funny moments.
You have good comedic actors in this film. You got Asif Ali. You got Nick Kroll. You got Florence Pugh. We saw in Marvel. She can do comedy. Like,
she's very
Gemma
funny,
Chan. I'm sure she would have loved a comedic bit. You have Kate Berlant. Kate Berlant's fucking hilarious. She was in League of Their Own, right?
Yeah.
She's fucking fantastic. You had good comedy actors in there.
Oh, the guy who's Dr. Collins. He's a comedic actor.
Yes, he's a comedic actor too. Steve Berg, the bus driver. Like, you just you got good comedy talent that you could have easily woven into the film to help with that rise and release of tension.
And if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But like, let them be charming or something. Let them have some of the. And you know what? And there are moments that are like, okay, here we go. For example, the dinner scene with Florence Pugh and Chris Pine. Florence Pugh and Chris Pine are both fantastic actors. I am a big fan of Chris Pine. You know, I think he gets a bad rap because he's very pretty, he's very white, and his name is Chris. But I think he's actually a really good actor. I've always loved his work. And as they're sitting there doing a tete-a-tete back and forth at that dinner table, you can see it. You can see them grabbing and like trying to pull and tug. But then it feels like they have nothing to tug. It feels like they have nothing to say because the script's bad and like the circumstance of like the setup of is like, okay. And he's like, he comes in as like, I want you to challenge me. And he's like, and says everything. That was cool. That was the way he did it. That was fucking creepy. I was like, okay, I'm okay. Okay, movie. I'm ready. I've been waiting. Here we go. And then she starts off sort of hitting some points that I was like, okay. But then the second half of it is just like, what do you put in the food, Chris? What do you put in the food? I'm like, no, movie, no. Bring up all, like, it was so cool. Like that moment of bringing up how all of them met their husband in one of those three places. All of them went in the honeymoon. I was like, movie, you're being kind of smart. Okay, I'm here. What else you got? What else? Oh, there was nothing else. That was all.
There was nothing else.
But there's like 6 more minutes to the scene. Oh no.
And then it kind of falls apart awkwardly. And even like you said, there were a lot of scenes that I was like, it's kind of the worst acting I've seen out of Chris Pine too. And he was doing a good job, but I feel like in a lot of scenes,
it was the words
a little bit more. The script was a little bit of a problem, and the direction I feel like could like push them a little bit. Like, you know, you get it out of them a little bit. In the scene, I feel like there could have been a little bit more pulled out of these guys in certain scenes.
I also think it's because nothing was helping them, right? Because like in
Yeah.
Barbarian, and I hate to compare films, I do because it's mean sometimes, but Barbarian, like that camera added so much tension
Yeah.
and think about the beginning of that film, right? If for those of you who haven't seen Barbarian, it starts with this girl goes to an Airbnb and there's another guy there, and you don't know whether it's a good guy or a bad guy. And the whole first half an hour of this film is the two of them talking and like you trying to figure out who's good and who's bad. Marcus, with different, and we talked about it, with different camera angles and a different soundtrack, could have been a rom-com. But because of the camera and the sound, it was a horror film.
Yeah.
And none of that was in here. I didn't feel dynamic shifts from the camera, like to like really amp up Chris's performance. Like even like simple. I'm not a fucking director. I'm not a fucking director of photography. I don't know how to do shit. But there was some lines that Chris Pine was delivering that I thought were good. Imagine them with like a longer pause and a close zoom in, or like as he said them, there's a big shot rolling around to the tables going into Florence, like stuff like that just wasn't there. Nothing was helping. Like acting is hard.
It is,
but a lot of acting isn't acting. I'm a pretty good actor. I'm okay, right? I'm fine. I've seen me do stuff on camera that I was like, wow, that was pretty good. And then I've seen me do stuff on camera that was the dog shittiest shit you've ever fucking shitty shit in your life. And it's because a lot of that stuff was like in college and the kids didn't know what they were doing yet.
Yeah.
So sometimes people would like, and it wasn't the performance they were pulling out of me, because honestly, college kids don't know to pull how to pull performance from an actor. So it's all me just hoping I do good. And it's how you place the camera, where it is, how you edit it together, like all that stuff. So like I agree with what you're saying, but again, I think it's there. I think honestly, I think I'm reinforcing your earlier point where it's so many things. It's so many
a lot
small
of things that are
just
wrong
miss
with
the
film.
mark. Yeah. And not even by a lot, but like everything just needs a couple clicks up and then you got a good movie.
I also feel like I might be shooting myself in the foot by saying this. And I'm going to be honest, I am a man and I'm not the most well-versed person to talk about like feminist issues, but I do feel like the film kind of messed up the message that it was trying to send. I get what they were trying to say.
What do you think it was, and what do you think?
I get what they were trying to say. I feel like they were talking about incels and men, and like it would have been cool. Yeah, I mean, it was cool what they did, where they got to see Florence Pugh take her rights back as a woman and have some autonomy, and the fact that sometimes you have men in relationships where they feel like they're less than the woman because they're not making enough money. They're not, like, a lot of women I'm sure can relate to men who kind of put them down because the woman makes more money than them. Like I've known couples in real life who've had this issue, and for those men complaining like, fuck you, like, dream for me, be at home all day playing video games while my wife is making money. Okay, Daron, I mean, hey, if Darren's making like 6 figures out there, oh, that's not enough. If she's making like $1 million a year, I quit my job. I'll make sure dinner's cooked. I massage her feet every day. I'd be there.
But you think it missed that by saying what?
But I think it missed that on a few levels, because there's the reveal in the film that all of the women there are not there by choice, that they're there because their husbands are the ones running the programs, and that they all kind of like are captives. And then 5 seconds later, you get the reveal that Olivia Wilde knows she's in a simulation and she chose to be there, which immediately takes a huge dump on the film and on Florence Pugh's sort of like breakthrough and development. Because I would have loved if that scene wasn't there and you got to see all these women breaking free, or her in the real world afterwards, going and like making sure that all of these women were saved and that they had some kind of rehabilitation into society. She starts a women's group, something. I would have loved to see
as a women's group, all the modern going around. That would have been cool.
Talking about their trauma and what they've been through.
You don't even have to do all that. Just cut to the scene and then cut the movie out. You can fill in the rest. That's a great last shot.
I might be wrong. like I said
I
earlier,
think that's
but
a great
like
last shot.
I had a major problem with that.
I don't mind the reveal. I mind how it happened. It didn't feel earned. It didn't feel
Yeah.
good. Like the fact, like one woman betraying the other women in that way. You know, I don't think
Yeah.
takes away from the whole thing, but I think there's a way to do it, and it didn't feel that way. Like I think she needed to be more involved, or she needed to be more like doing stuff. Like we should have been more suspicious of her somehow.
More stuff the whole time. Like maybe
like,
a couple
she
of
got
more
her
times she almost
comeuppance.
gets out.
Maybe she has to die to have like something. Like there has to be some kind of comeuppance or like earned moment there, and it just wasn't there. It was just oh, by the way, I know because my kids died. Okay, run, bye.
I know, and I'm getting the fuck out of here. But like, how cool would it have been if like she didn't kill Harry Styles, she got out in the real world and then had to have
Killed
like
him
a
there.
real life in the real world struggle with Harry Styles, Incel Harry, and like there could have been more tension there, and she managed to escape or something.
They also could have done like some really cool, like I don't think this movie could have handled this, but some really cool, like you have to, it goes back and forth kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
where
or
like as he's like putting it back on, and she's struggling there to help all the women escape, but then he takes it off, and then she's there struggling with him, and it goes back and forth.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one more thing, but I feel like even if she got out, I don't know, because I'm going a lot with what else could have happened at the end, and really like
I love that.
My
People love that.
My overall point is that I just wish there was more after the movie, and it didn't end with her just like escaping.
What's your other point?
Just something that would then kind of go back to the theme of the movie. Just anything that would have gone back to the theme of the movie would have been great. But she gets out. Harry's still alive. She's fighting with Harry. She manages to get out of the apartment. She runs into like a male cop. And she's like, help me, you have to help me, you have to help me. And then Harry's just like, women be crazy, right? And the cop's like, women be crazy. And then
very Planet of the Apes fucking.
And then she gets pulled back or something. Something like that. That's a spooky horror ending.
That's
obviously they wouldn't be saying
like,
women be crazy, but something along the lines of that's more well written.
Yeah, that kind of happened on Barbarian, right?
Yeah, that moment in Barbarian was great. Yeah. Something like that would have been a good ending.
That would have been cool too. I think all these things would have been cool. And again, like it's like you're saying things that would have fixed it. I don't think the VR was the problem. I didn't like the VR. I would have chose the Village, Stepford Wives kind of thing where they just took them to the desert and brainwiped them or whatever. Yeah. Like you don't even explain it. They're like trying to explain it with this like hypnotism and like the fucking VR shit. I'm just like, you fucking knocked them out and you did sci-fi shit. Yeah. Like in Get Out. In Get Out, they were putting white people's brains into black people's bodies.
Yeah.
And that was the most explanation they gave.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
It was great. We didn't need a whole
explanation. All you need.
Yeah.
That is all you need.
I feel like another thing too is, I don't know. I want to say this and I want to be clear about this, that there are a lot of great horror movies directed by women that I think more people should definitely go see. And I think that more of the fucked up, cool horror movies that I've watched have been directed by women. Raw was directed by a woman. American Psycho was directed by a woman. Goodnight Mommy was directed by a woman. What's that? Jennifer's Body, right? That was written by a woman, directed by a woman. Shit, just like there's just a lot of good. One of the Freddy Kruegers was directed by a woman. The Babadook was directed by a woman.
Psycho?
Yeah, I said American Psycho.
Oh, I missed you saying that.
But like, it's good. It's good. They make great content. They make just as fucked up content as men. More fucked up, I think. But
The Invitation, we like that.
The Invitation was great, directed by a woman. Like they do great horror, and I feel like you want to make sure the narrative isn't the men that this movie is about will take the wrong message from Don't Worry, Darling, and make it more about the drama and stuff like that. But don't.
But at the same time, like you were saying, Olivia Wilde doesn't seem like she's the best advocate spokesperson for this either, because she's decrying things.
True.
So it's like
that's true.
Where you have to take the criticism of your film as well. You know, you have to do it's both. You have to do both. Yes, there are shitty men on the internet that are men rights activist people that fucking are never gonna accept you. But also, you can make a bad movie.
That's true.
You know, and you need to listen to those things.
Yeah.
I think it's like you said. I think ultimately I came away still liking this movie a little more than you. I was more hopeful about it sounds like, but we come from the same place where it's like, just I didn't understand. And it's like you said, they edited so much out. I was listening to a podcast, and apparently in the original draft of the film or deleted scene or some part of some stage of this film, the ending was going to reveal that they were 50 years in the future, and it was a society. It wasn't just like this one person. It was like as if the incels like won a little bit, and this like, and like you were gonna read something that was like explaining how to fake the death of your wife and like how to get the, like it was a little more not mainstream, but it was a little
Oh.
more like it wasn't so random.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
in the film, it seemed it just didn't make sense. We saw Harry Styles put some water droplets in Florence Pugh's mouth, and
Yeah.
we're supposed to not ask any more questions about the logistics of how this
Yeah.
happened at all. She sounded like a very important doctor.
I was gonna say that. Like, no one did a wellness check to be like, hey, where are you?
Also, like,
It's fucked
I
up.
mean, it's always so weird where it's like, why is Florence Pugh with this guy? And I want to be like, that doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. This stuff happens all the time.
Yeah, oh yeah, for
You know,
sure.
People
Yeah,
get stuck
yeah.
in shitty relationships all the
Yeah.
goddamn time.
But also the fact that it was kind of like there's a really good horror movie in here. Like,
Yeah.
women live
Some of it was
very
filmed.
scary lives. They
Yeah.
are great people to be making horror movies. Just like it's scary to be a minority in America, and you can make a great horror film about that makes people relate to it. You can do the same thing for what it feels like to be a woman. And it feels like this movie
100%.
wanted to do that, but it wasn't competent enough to.
It seemed like it wanted to from like the people who started making the film, but when Olivia Wilde talks about it, and she's like, it's about the female orgasm, it's like, oh, I don't think you knew what this movie was about.
That also concerns me.
Maybe not, but it
Yeah.
sounds like it.
Yeah,
Though I will say once again, just because I really did think the moment was funny and like, that's kind of funny, was like when he was listening to fucking Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson fucking podcast.
Yeah,
It's
he was
on
listening to
Reddit,
Chris
and,
Pine's
like-
thing, and listening to it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and another thing that like it's what I thought the movie was, and I'm not
Mhm.
saying what I think the movie should be is what the movie should be, but it just seemed like a missed opportunity where the Chris Pine aspect of it all felt so culty to make
Yeah.
it VR, to never go more about this movie was about Harry Styles and Florence Pugh. It should have been about Frank and Florence Pugh. Like there should have been more Frank in this movie, like her trying to tear him down, a tete-a-tete going back and forth. Like,
yeah.
like if it was the village and not VR, then what they were doing at the headquarters could have been something like they were trying to kill all the women and these were the only women left, or like they were
Mhm.
like doing a
Yeah,
nuclear energy thing.
yeah. There could have
or,
been
like,
1,000 ways this movie went.
to make that headquarters
Mhm.
like satisfying, except just to be a room and it was that gateway to the outside. And then also to not get any more Frank's, like we get so little of his like podcast ranty like
Yeah.
diatribes, but like why didn't we get way more of his like what he thought and him trying to talk more about
Mhm.
that, and like him getting more people like on his side, and like for
Yeah.
that second when he was getting people to come to his side at the table, I was like, okay, cool, why didn't we get more of that?
Yeah.
Like, as the movie was going on, it was such a wasted opportunity, because
Yeah.
that aspect was cool and
Yeah, for
made
sure.
you think, right? Weren't you there wondering like, oh, I wonder for what Frank's about? Or is this a sex thing? Are they all going to the headquarters to fuck every day? Like I didn't know, but like my mind was wondering.
Yeah, that's true.
And the cult was nothing.
I was saying the same thing. I was like, wouldn't it be hilarious if she breaks into the headquarters and she just sees that he fucks them all day long?
That's what I thought was happening.
That would have been great.
Oh,
Why
and
were
what
we
was
on
that
the same
fucking?
page about that? That's a
I
weird
don't-
thing to be on the same page about.
Because it was very culty vibes.
Yeah.
He was
yeah.
giving very Nexium fucking vibes. Like all he had to do was play basketball, and he was that one dude.
Nick, I feel like what
The
you mean
volleyball. He played volleyball. Yeah, volleyball, sorry.
Two things I want to say before we move on about other things about this point. One, was The Village actually a good movie and we just didn't appreciate it at the time? Just
I've
something
never
to think
seen it.
about. Maybe we should rewatch that. Number two, wouldn't it be amazing if they revealed that Chris Pine didn't look like Chris Pine? Also, like he was just a schlubby incel.
What a fun-
not an
what a
incel
fun
version
moment
of
that could
him,
have
just a
been.
completely different person entirely. You know?
Opportunity just missed.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
VR, you can make yourself look like whatever.
Not necessary, but just like it would have added to the film.
Exactly.
And also, what was that weird shit about fucking Florence Pugh? See, now this movie has like a male gaze and a female gaze that are like fucking fighting over how they want to make this film, because like what was that shit about like Chris Pine watching Florence Pugh like getting an orgasm from Harry Styles, and then Chris Pine at the dinner table said we fucked, and then it just never paid. Like, why have him lie in that moment about that and then not have any payoff and anyone believe him about it? And like, why not? If you want to go down that sexual road and do it like an Eyes Wide Shut kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Eyes Wide Shut, right? Like there's a whole fucking cult of like sex and shit and stuff going on. Like, why not go down that path? Like, I'm okay with that. I'm not adverse to your movie being about sex and sexuality and about what that means.
Yeah.
But like, that seems like such a like pervy, like weird, like thing to say and then not pay it off, especially in a film that's about what it's about.
Yeah. And if you're doing the incel culty thing, like lean into it more, like have him fuck other people's wives, because that's kind of like this thing, right? Like the men think they own the women. Like he thinks he owns all the women here.
Yes, I thought he
Play
did
with that a little bit.
I thought he did.
That happens in cults all the time. A lot of the cult leaders are like, okay, I have to fuck your wife. God's telling me I gotta fuck your wife. And they're like, okay, here you go.
And they didn't need to go the movie that way. It just seemed like it wanted to and it didn't.
Yeah.
Like either don't make that not what the movie's about, or you can, but just pay it off. It did neither of those things.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say the Harry Styles going down on her thing it's good, but in like it would be nice if it was a healthy relationship that it was happening in.
Yeah, I agree. I think we said this already. There should be more pussy in movies, 100%. It should be like the fact that DJ Khaled said that and not everyone's immediate response was like only half the internet's response was this, but everyone's response was like, you suck.
Yeah. People also orgasm too fast in movies. I feel like they gotta like.
I had no problem with it. It seemed realistic to me.
Just both men and women are like, done. Yeah, we did it. We had a good time.
Oh, you're right. Guys coming that fast seem weird.
Everyone. Also, hold on, Nick. You're gonna be like, oh, women come in like 1 second for me. Sure, whatever, Nick. But like, then you go for multiple orgasms every single sexual intercourse.
Normalize multiple
orgasms.
Get them coming and going. Two minimum. 2 drink minimum.
Sure, if it goes on for a long time, maybe you're running to dinner late, whatever. But like, come on, give us more. This movie's about the female orgasm. Do it better.
I would just love to see what Florence and because of this things going on, we just didn't get any of it. I would just love to hear Florence Pugh talk about it and what she thought the movie was and how disappointed she must be, because it's such a thing where you don't know how the movie's going to turn out when you're doing the movie. You think everything's fine, you try your best, and then you don't know how it's going to be edited. You don't know if you're going to get cut.
Yeah, that's true.
I would love so Florence Pugh, you can come on this podcast and have full reign to tell us about what you think.
Permanent invite for the podcast. Oh yeah, she negotiated out of doing press. Well, if you want to do anti-press on this podcast, come on down. Talk shit about the movie.
I bet she had to agree. I bet part of the deal was that she couldn't talk shit either.
We'll pay the legal fees. No, we won't.
Yeah, we'll pay her like $1 million NDA. Sure. No problem. Guys, go to patreon.com/.
Yeah, get us $1 million and we'll use it to get Florence Pugh to talk about this film.
That's the best use of our $1 million.
I think so.
Yeah, and reading all the reviews, they all agree with you. One person's review on Rotten Tomatoes says, "Don't worry, darling. You can look it up when you get home."
I didn't read any reviews for this yet, but I'm going to have fun reading them after this. I'm sure they're good.
Yeah, I think we hit on most of it. I don't think there's anything else I needed to say. If there's anything you would like to say.
I don't know. Chat, let us know if there's anything else that we missed that you want to hear us talk about. But I feel like for the most part, I covered most of the things I wanted to say. It just didn't feel like a cohesive film. It felt like there were problems on set. You know, it was just one of those movies that felt that way.
It did. It really did. Oh, were you mad about the trolley driver exchange?
I was mad about the trolley driver exchange in the way that she is actively asking. Okay, so the trolley driver is driving her around town, and then she sees a plane crashing, and
never pays off,
she's
but
like,
yes.
we have to go to the plane, and he's like, no, I can't, like, I can't go. But they play it like he can't go off his roof because something nefarious is happening. And it's like, if I asked a New York City bus driver to be like, you gotta go over there, there's someone in danger, they would not fucking stop for a second either. Like, I can't expect this man to take his bus to the fucking desert. That just didn't make sense for me.
Do you think he's a red pill, or do you think he was a simulation?
I don't know. If he's doing the same thing every day, it would be weird if he was a whole ass person whose job was just to drive the bus and he didn't get the fucking no bitches. He got no bitches in the movie. I would hate that.
So 2 things, I think, and then we could probably wrap it up here. 1, do you think that Harry Styles went to a mundane job during the day to fill out this or do you think he was going to work for Frank doing something? Because it was never clear, and it kind of pissed me off that I didn't know.
Oh, I think no. They said it in the movie. Like,
he said he worked every day, but he didn't say where.
No, yeah. But he has to pay Frank, so he goes to work. It's like a subscription service. He has to go
it could
work
have been
a job.
Saying he was paying Frank by working for him.
I don't think so.
Which I think is better.
I think that would have been better, but I think he legitimately
it's more
is just making
going to
money.
work in the 7-Eleven.
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of cults also work like that, right? Like, you go and you give all of your money to the cult to work for the cult.
Yeah, but he couldn't find a job before, and she was a fucking doctor. How could he afford that apartment if she had to pull double shifts at the fucking doctor's? She was a surgeon, now. Marcus. She was a surgeon.
I know, it doesn't
You know how
make
much
sense.
surgeons make?
It doesn't make sense.
Hold
but
on.
It makes sense.
Starting salary.
It makes sense.
Starting salary.
It makes sense in the way that he wanted to be in control, and that was the motivating factor. Now that he's in control, he's willing to work hard when he could have been working hard the whole time.
No, Marcus, because a surgeon's starting salary is between $400,000 and $500,000 a year, and she seemed pretty important. And even if she wasn't, she was pulling doubles and shit, which means she was making more than that. She was making easily $600,000 a year, and they were still struggling. And we're like, fucking, their walls were coming down and they couldn't afford how they were in like a shitty.
Yeah, that was weird. Why were they struggling?
That makes no sense.
Yeah. It's because
if they were, I don't know if they were in New York. They might have been in Chicago or something. But if they were in New York, they would at least live with that kind of money, like close to Park Slope. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't live all the way in fucking like Forest Hill, Queens, or like fucking even worse.
Forest
Hill,
Queens is very nice. It's a very rich area.
I know, but I meant like past that, like when you get worse,
okay.
Like worse, like farther. I don't know what's past Forest Hill.
I've never traveled past Forest Hills
or Southern Bronx, or like I don't fucking know. Wherever a shitty neighborhood is,
shit
right?
about the Bronx. It's perfect, baby.
But it doesn't make any sense.
Huh?
Which is why, like, if they just said he was working for Frank, it almost fixes that problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because, like, I know how much fucking Alex Jones makes.
But these people are all over the world. It'd be weird. I mean, I don't know. What, he's mining crypto for Frank? What is he, like, you know?
Well, no, the same thing like Nexium did. You fucking run seminars, and it's a fucking Ponzi scheme. You get more people to come. That's how it works. You get people to take the classes, and then you get fucking, you know. I don't know. Anyway, second thing, and this isn't my point. I heard this on a podcast, and it just made so much sense to me. Mm-hmm. Marcus, they have this whole VR thing with the perfect thing and perfect lives, and Bunny, the neighbor, is there because her kids are alive in this reality. Why did they need real life women?
Because it's gay if you not have real women in there, Nick. It's just a bunch of dudes jerking off. That's weird.
Like, explain it to me. Like,
what? You don't understand? It's the same reason that in college parties they let women in for free. It's just like these creepy guys just want the control of women. It's worse if they're like 3D waifus. You know what I mean?
But that would make more sense to me. Like your whole shtick of being lonely and can't get women, so you're gonna sleep with virtual women. It's like, okay, well, I mean, you still suck, but like, you're only hurting yourself. How was he feeding her? Was he undressing her and fucking giving her sponge baths and fucking changing her diaper?
I think so.
There's so much that had to go into doing this.
It was a lot of extra work. That he just showed that commitment in the relationship. They would have had a great relationship.
You can't live off an IV, Daron. There's still more shit you got to do.
People live in comas, Nick.
Yeah, and those nurses do work. Pay respect to those fucking nurses. That's full-time fucking job.
That's what I'm saying, though. If Harry Styles put this much work into anything else, they would have had a great relationship.
So you're gonna have me believe. You're gonna fucking have me believe that Harry Styles is such a shithead that he can't keep a job. He's such an incel. He's listening to fucking Jordan Peterson shit. He sucks this much, and yet he can pull this off and work a full-time job enough to afford the subscription and that apartment. They couldn't afford their apartment with her $600K surgeon job. I know it's about controlling it, but it just makes even less sense there.
It is a lot more.
You think about it for 1 minute, it all falls apart.
It is a lot more work to do all of this, but it is about the control. It is about the control.
Just do The Village.
Yeah. It doesn't work. The Village would have been a better movie. Like they win,
insular society. Who cares where the money's coming from?
Or something.
Yeah, who cares?
Whatever. Or like a weird law is passed that like all men get one woman that they get to keep, or some shit like that. Like
that would have been interesting. Like a Planet of the Apes
I don't
future,
know.
weird shit's going on.
Some weird shit.
Super sci-fi. I'm okay with super sci-fi. Go super sci-fi.
Go super sci-fi.
This tried to make it like make sense, and it made it make less.
Yeah, I thought the women were gonna be like robots. I thought it was gonna be about
That's Stepford Wives.
Yeah. That's what I thought it was gonna be. They were all gonna find out that they were robots or something, and I was like, oh, we're just doing this again.
Yeah, they could have just remade Stepford Wives and just made it like look cooler, and it would have been a better movie.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't know.
I'm okay with remakes if they're good. Whatever. Anyway,
yeah,
that's all I have to say. I think.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been scarier if the scale of it was bigger. Like if the scale of it was like, oh, the government is implicit in, especially with everything going on right now. You know, if the government was complicit in the like control of women.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. I think we're saying is we are men and we would have made a better movie. I think that's all we're saying. Yeah.
No, that's not what we're saying. That's not. I would like to formally state that is not what I am saying. And I do not want Nick to be saying that on this podcast.
Joking aside, that was clearly a joke. It's just such a shame because I was cheering for this movie back when I was hearing about it as coming up. I've become a huge fan of Florence Pugh. I think Midsommar has this problem, but she's fantastic. I loved her in Hawkeye. I love her like on all ends of the spectrum. She's gonna be in Dune 2. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for her to be in Dune 2. Yeah, that's why she couldn't come to a lot of this stuff.
Who is she?
That was her excuse. Dune 2? I don't know. She's in it. Is there some person, female protagonist that comes in the second movie?
Oh, Princess Avalon. Okay, got it.
She sounds like a princess to me. I think I read she's a princess.
Yeah, that's good.
Florence
That's good
Pugh
casting.
is like she is it.
She's gonna kill it as a princess too. This is gonna be good.
She kills it in everything, and she killed it in this. And it's a shame.
Yeah, but that's fair. I feel like
all my feelings.
She did a great job, and I think she definitely deserves a lot of recognition in this film for the work she did because she was incredible.
I think this movie's worth watching just for her. Like, and it's a bad movie. Like, she's very good.
She's very good in it.
She is so good at a moment. She's so good at being creepy. She's so good at being funny. She's so good at being charming.
I'd watch Florence Pugh make a horror movie. If she would. I feel like she could do it.
Marcus, you've said this before. Not because you're a awesome actor doesn't mean you know how to write.
Sure. I have said that. But rumors are she had to take over direction on set. The scenes
on this film?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Rumor.
Whoa, talk more about this. What?
Apparently, Olivia Wilde was missing a lot from set, and so
she was fucking hairy in the back.
That's the rumor. And
holy shit!
So Florence Pugh had to kind of step up on set and take control of a lot of stuff. So now she has
really.
The
you
practice.
Think that's true?
I don't know, but in my head, she has the practice, and now she could do it.
Honestly, you sold me. Now I think she also can. She could direct. I want to see her directorial debut. All right, amazing. Well, Marcus, is there anything else you would like to talk about Don't Worry, Darling?
I will say one more positive thing. My favorite scene was when she wrapped the plastic around her head. I feel like that was one of the few scenes where I feel like everything was working together. I felt like Feel like the music was close to working. It felt
scene-
suffocating a little bit. I feel like that little brief couple of
yeah.
seconds was good.
Maybe she directed that one.
Yeah.
That scene was good, but again, it just made no goddamn sense in the context of the film. Like if she was suicidal in the movie trying to get out of the simulation, cool, good. Hit that a couple times. Make that a theme. Make that payoff. But it literally made no sense why she did it.
Yeah. It
felt
felt like
it looked cool.
It felt like the script called for weirdness, but like it was made by normies who don't know what like how to be as weird as like a David Lynch or like I don't know, anybody else.
Yeah, I'm cool with the weird, just like, but then the payoff is because her strong will was like messing with the simulation. Or she as a person was like her body was like rejecting. Like there's so many things that could have made, but like but she legit seemed like she was going through psychosis. She was hallucinating.
Yeah. Or
why?
You know what? This could have been also shorten the entirety of the movie right into one half. So that first 2 hours becomes like an edited down 1 hour film. Which I feel like could have easily done. And then you have the other hour of the 2 hours be a revenge film where she's just murdering the shit out of all these men.
So cool.
And she's hunting them down in the real world. That would be kind of cool.
That would be fucking great.
And then the final boss, Chris Pine.
Oh my God. Yeah. She's got to fight him in VR and he turns into a giant. She has a sword.
Okay, maybe not that, but something. You know, it's definitely something.
All right, Marcus, did you like Don't Worry, Darling?
I did not like this movie.
Sure.
Did you like this movie? I'll ask you since it was your challenge, but you didn't watch it before.
I wanted to so bad. There was you heard me talk about it. I'm sure you could hear the hope in like my voice. Like I wanted to like so much of this.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. Would you recommend this film?
I would not recommend this film to anyone.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Would you recommend the film?
And would you?
You said no.
No. I mean, it's hard because if I ask you if you'll watch the next Florence Pugh film, you'll say yes.
Of course, it's the Thunderbolts or Dune. Two things I love.
And I feel like if I ask you if you'll watch another Olivia Wilde film, that's mean.
I probably would.
She's
you know what? She's 1 out of 2 good movies. I'd watch the third one.
And there's some moments of clarity in this, but again, now you said a rumor. Now you got me doubting about everything now.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it takes 3 movies. Like who's the guy who did Hereditary? Ari Aster? Who's that? Is that the guy? Yeah. Hereditary I love. Midsommar felt like Hereditary Part 2. And then the third movie, I could really like or really hate. I don't know. I think sometimes it takes multiple movies.
Oh man, I really hated the end of Hereditary.
I like the end of Hereditary. I liked Midsommar. I think Midsommar was a better film, but it felt too much like Hereditary. Like I would tell most people to watch one of those movies. Just watch one of them.
I like the ending of Midsommar more than the ending of Hereditary, but I like the ride of Hereditary more than Midsommar.
Okay.
Because again, Midsommar I think suffered from that thing where it was a little like, is it psychosis? Is it drugs? Is it creepy?
Yeah.
You know, I kind of need one. I can't do them all. I can't do unreliable. Like it felt like we were watching Girl on a Train, that movie. Where you find out the main character is an alcoholic, so it's an unreliable narrator, so you're not sure what's real as going on.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work, but it is a way you can go.
Yeah.
But then also it feels like a Conjuring movie where like there's weird shit happening, you know? So it's like it also feels like Black Swan, where it's like she's going through like mental legitimate issues. So it's like, what is it?
Yeah.
I don't think it knows.
Yeah. But
Marcus,
I would watch the third movie of Olivia Wilde's just to say. I don't think she's
depending
completely
on the subject
bad
material
or anything. I think this movie was bad.
For me, it depends on the subject material. If it's an interesting film, I'll watch it. Yeah. But I also all the brouhaha behind the scenes has kind of turned me off. Like, oh, like what? Like it's all I don't know. I don't know these people personally, but this all makes me a little like bad taste in my mouth.
That's
all this
understandable. Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to pick sides, but I pick Florence Pugh side.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think this says a lot where everything stands. Well, Marcus, that's the show.
That is the show.
It doesn't end with a grand bang, but a whimper.
That's not a whimper. Just because we didn't like it, I think we had a good discussion.
Yeah, we did.
The next week, we got to watch Lighthouse. Remember that?
Is it The Lighthouse or Lighthouse?
It's The Lighthouse. I have it right in front of me. I looked at it.
The Lighthouse. All right, we will. I put in Lighthouse. It just pictures of Lighthouse. I didn't put the So next week we will be watching The Lighthouse to continue on for this month of October, where we only watch spooky, scary things. You can check us out everywhere. NowTryThisCast.com for all socials and all media and all other things. Make sure to follow and subscribe and all that stuff. But if you really want to join the conversation, if you really want to help us out, if you really want to influence us to make sure we watch more Don't Worry Darlings, because these movies don't come along a lot for us.
That's true.
Because we usually only give things we love. And you like the cool discussion we had today, you need to go to patreon.com/nowtrythiscast, become a patron, and help spark our conversation by giving us more suggestions.
Yeah, for sure. Fantastic, Nick. And guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us in the chat. We love an active chat. Thank you for downloading, subscribing, liking, whatever you're doing, leaving reviews. You guys are the absolute best. Remember to go out there and try some things. Good night.
Good night.
Friends get together so that they can try things. Yell about it, it's podcast so that you can try things. Now we will stop singing so that we can all now try this.
I'm eating lentil soup.
Lentils? I feel like lentils have come around. You know how a lot of rich culture is adopting poor people's things?
Oh, yeah.
There's a word for it, I'm sure. But a lot of rich culture is just stealing from poor culture and then making it like rich. Like it happens a lot in the culinary world. A lot of times they'll take like the
Remember
dish.
lobster used to be shit, right?
Yeah. Or the like ratatouille or whatever from that thing. It was like literally the poor people's
man's stew
food.
or
Yeah, poor
whatever.
man's stew, whatever. Yeah.